So Katie, I was wondering if you could perhaps talk a little bit about the way you're educating the boys and how you're applying Sahaja Yoga in a very practical way in the boys' education. Is that a good place to start?
Yes, that's a very good place to start, and very relevant because we've just decided that we're going to do home education when they're 8 years old. They had a couple of years in the village school, and then we took them out because we really felt that actually, although they were learning everything that we could want them to learn at school, there was a huge chunk that was missing, which was their own personal development. It seemed like a real waste that all the things that we'd been doing as a family suddenly, once they reached school, were squished into 5 minutes at the beginning of the day and 5 minutes at the end of the day because they were too exhausted to really pay attention.
When you say all the things you've been doing as a family,
meditation, looking after each other in a way that really was in harmony with each person. Suddenly, when we were fitting into that school routine, everybody had to fit into the same box, and we found that didn't suit the family at all because the child was more creative, needed much more self-expression in that sense, and as they went up the school, that all got cut down, and we valued that. We felt that it was very important that they could express their creativity, but that we could also realise some of the other values which weren't picked up in the school because we know them from Sahaja Yoga. And
what sort of values?
now the things that we really work on at home are we kind of introspect on how we're actually all behaving, all our relationships in the family. So in a fun way, we can pay attention to not reacting to each other, to being able to witness, to relating things to things that we've learned about the different chakras and seeing why they're a problem to us and what hang-ups we have, what are our own personal defects, and how if we address those things, we can do it with a lot of humour and we can let go of them much more easily and we can help each other through them. So I find that with home education, we can actually base whole topics. We have whole topics around these values, and we can get a lot of educational material out of it. And we can just look at all the things that we're actually doing in our everyday life and expand on them instead of rushing past and doing our reading and writing and maths.
Can you think of like one particular example or one particular area where you've sort of applied those principles in the way in what you've been studying to help the children to realise something about those principles?
Might need a pause.
Well, maybe to do with the appreciation of Mother Earth. I mean, that's something that you've focused on quite a lot, haven't you?
What we're doing here, we've got a farm and it's quite old and run down, but we've been looking at how we can actually do something with it to express all the values around nature and looking after the environment and picking up on lots of things which are very current at the moment, and in particular sustainable living. And so we've had various work done at the place which involves managing the wastewater from the house, and that gets filtered through the plants and the soil. We've had a whole system dug for that, and I was surprised that the boys have actually been very, very attentive in this whole project, and they want to know how to grow things, how all these systems in nature work, the names of everything to do with the plants, the animals, the behaviour of plants and animals. And I didn't have to do anything about that, it just came up, and it seems to be nourished every day, and they really thrive on it. And it actually, I find that when we meditate, if they've been outside, they've cleared out, they don't have the same problems that they had earlier on, and it makes them feel much lighter. They often complain of being very tired when they're in the house or out shopping. They can immediately feel exhausted, and just send them outside for an hour and they're completely uplifted. So we can relate that all with Sahaja Yoga. We can relate that to the fact that we have these elements within us, and that if those elements elements are awakened, and if they're kept clean and nourished, and those chakras are kept clean and nourished, then that can actually stabilise us. And they see it; they can just see it in their everyday life.
And did you notice that they really missed that benefit when they were going to school? I mean, did you see a sort of a negative effect upon them when they were attending school?
Well, the thing I saw about them at school was that they very quickly turned to the outside of themselves, and they became very shallow in a way, because they wanted to mix with their friends, and their friends didn't have any connection to Sahaja Yoga. They didn't have any of that at home, no encouragement or support. Although they're very, very sweet kids, they didn't seem to have any support on the subtle side of their life, and some of their friends are having to deal with quite serious issues at home anyway. And so the boys developed a lot of the side of themselves which is rough and tumble, and get exhausted and crash into bed and wake up, and the same cycle was going on. But we felt it wasn't really nourishing who they really are. And now that we've taken them out of school, we actually sent them to a camp in Italy where there were other children doing Sahaja Yoga, and they really developed their own personalities because they're twins. And you could see such a difference where people who've been practicing Sahaja Yoga could focus in and help each one of them with their own different strengths and weaknesses. So we felt that was an enormous help to us. When they came back for the holidays, they said, we don't want to go back to school. We're learning more at home, so we know that we're doing enough for them academically, but it's the spiritual strength that we really want for them.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much.
Sounds like a load of mumbo jumbo.